My name is Greg Neal and I'm a business consultant, and I'm here today with Severin Oliver. This is Lawrence Construction, and we're talking to Severin, who is a partner in the business, about how did this happen?
So my name is Severin Oliver, and I'm a partner and production manager here at Lawrence Construction now. And I've been with Tom and Lawrence Construction for, I guess, a little over 7 years at this point. A brief history is I've been a carpenter in Berkeley since I was 20 years old and went back east for 6 years. My wife went to school, and when I came back, a common friend of Tom and myself introduced me and said that Tom was looking for builders, and I was looking for something to do when I came back, and went and met with Tom and his current person who he had in his office with him, just smaller at that point, and immediately was handed a set of plans and a project, and where clients were living with little babies, do a second story addition, and there I was. So probably worked as a project lead, project manager for Tom for 3 or 4 years, and towards the end of that period of time is probably when I met you, who were doing some business consulting with Tom.
Right.
Most small companies, although I never had any aspirations of being a large business owner. I had been licensed and billing out independently for 15 years in California, and was doing that for financial reasons. And certainly, right about when I met you, I think that Tom was at a growth point where, as a single business owner doing everything on his own, some things downhill from that weren't necessarily being addressed to my liking, and being somewhat of a control freak, that probably caused me some difficulties, some stress, some malcontent, whatever way you want to put it. And it was close to that period of time when I thought that I would try to do something similar to what I did back east, to do my own thing, and took a hiatus on short notice from Lawrence Construction.
And you were gone for 6 months, 9 months?
Yeah, 9 months, something like that. Basically went over to San Francisco, worked on a multi-million-dollar thing in Pacific Heights. I'd been a trim carpenter specialist, stair builder for years back east, and thought that would be a fun thing for me to do. It's kind of my ideal business, probably the most fun I ever had as a builder. Within 9 months, I had a few potential clients all over the Bay Area who wanted me to come and trim their houses out, and it was shortly thereafter that I realized that now that I had it in the palm of my hand, probably wasn't what I wanted to do, for a variety of reasons. I had a young daughter. It meant commuting all over the place, being from Tiburon to Livermore to wherever, and getting guys, and did they know what they were doing? And I realized that the job of actually building a business from scratch was a 70 or 80 hour a week, 15-year process, which is what Tom has done here at Lawrence Construction. And it was one of those light bulb moments for me. And to be honest, I left Lawrence Construction not in the best way. One of my strengths is communication skills. I think I left Tom in a lurch. I think I left without proper communication, without doing it the way that Tom and without the way that Lawrence Construction runs business and deals with clients and people. I was aware of that and wasn't necessarily so proud of that. And so when I decided that I was not interested in building my business from scratch and wanted to see my daughter grow up, and one of my first thoughts was to myself that I would like to go back and continue working with Lawrence Construction. And certainly at that point in time, I already had an idea that that Tom would want to retire at some point in time, and I had an interest in doing what he was doing. And so, but prior to that, it was something that, I had a respect for the business and what it was developed, and for whatever reason, the size of the company was less intimidating to me at that point than it would have been earlier in my career.
So after 9 months of being on your own, you came back with this newfound wisdom, and by then I had been working here for 9 months, and things had changed a little bit. So you came back, and then you started running one job.
Well, I think it's important to note I came back in a specific way, meaning I wanted to portray who I was and what Lawrence Construction was about, and I actually called Tom and sat down with him and apologized for leaving in the way I did and let him know that I was aware it wasn't right and wanted to get off to a fresh start. And that was, you know, him and I always got along pretty well. I think that was, worked for him. And so yes, I basically went back out to running projects as a lead.
Yeah, I remember you came back and I think if I recall correctly, you started with running one project.
Correct.
And then you started running more than one project, and the next thing I knew, you were running all the projects.
Right, and it was similar to that. I mean, I started running one project, and what had happened is that we had another lead on a project in a similar neighborhood that we had that Tom had hired, and he had another production manager at the time. And that lead turned out to not be skilled or able to do that, and my job was pretty well under control. It was early in the game, but I had my guys laid out, and Tom asked, could you run down and do some management of this project because we're in a tight spot? And I said, yeah, I think I can do that. And so at that point in time, I started jumping between a couple of projects. And it was actually during that project that I approached Tom of an interest in purchasing a part of his company and becoming, a part owner of that company. And I was me that just approached him and asked him if that would be something he was interested in. And he said yes. It was something he was interested in, something to talk about. And so, it was I could barely recall the climb, but it went pretty quickly from running a project to running a few to the current production manager not working out and me moving into the office and working as a production manager, overseeing multiple projects, and that kind of ballooned into the process. Then the process of my desire to buy a part of it kind of snowballed from there, and it was good because I got the opportunity to find out, I've been a builder my entire life. Do I like sitting in a chair and doing it from that perspective or not? And I did. So it was a good intro for me to decide that I wanted to continue doing this.